Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. And also thanks to all the people that are watching us on the live stream on YouTube. And welcome to this educational presentation where today I'm going to teach you the secret to catching a big move. Now, I would venture to say that almost all of you have at one time or another just dreamt of catching that big move. You look at a stock or the chart and you say, gosh, wouldn't that have been nice if I had only bought here and watched it just go straight up, or else if I'd sold here and gone short and watched it go straight down. The trouble is, most traders lose money while trying to catch a big move, or they miss the move entirely. Let me share with you what I mean here. Let's look at this example in CTAS. Now, let's say you're looking at this stock. You think maybe it's poised for some type of a move. Maybe you're all excited about purchasing it, but that guy in that chat room that you follow, or that everyone says is really good, says there's major resistance here. So you don't want to buy it because you say to yourself, I'll just be prudent and wait till I see it start trading around here. And once it trades around this resistance and it looks strong, then I'll get in, okay? All right, so you're waiting, and then one day some news comes out and this happens. It gaps up way up here. You feel, well, that's a little bit too high for me to be buying, and then you miss it entirely. Okay, this is what happens with most people trying to catch a big move. They either lose money on the wrong stock altogether, the wrong market, or else they miss it entirely. Well, guess what? Here's what I'm going to teach you today. The method I'll be sharing with you today actually generated a buy signal right here, a full 3 days in advance of that big move. So you could have potentially captured 60 points in just 4 days. So once again, this is the topic of today's educational presentation, the secret to catching a big move. And that secret relies on a process that I'll be sharing with you today, very simple process that you have to employ in order to catch these big moves. And you can only apply this process on our platform, the PTS Primo Charting platform. I developed this with proprietary strategies that actually helps you to catch these big moves. So welcome once again. This promises to be a great educational presentation. My name is Stephen Primo. I'm the president and founder of Specialist Trading. I've been trading now for 47 years. I started my career on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange. I was on the floor for 16 years, and 9 of those years I was a specialist. A specialist is someone who makes markets in roughly about 50 or 60 stocks. So I made markets during the crash of '87 and the bull market that followed. And so in my 47-year career of trading, I've seen just about everything. I've traded through straight up markets, straight down markets, sideways markets. I've traded just about every system, every technique, any indicator method you can think of. Most of them that you think are new to this day that you've just heard about, they've been around before. They've just been rebranded and renamed. So I know what works in terms of consistency, and I know what doesn't work. Here's the problem with most traders. What I've learned in 47 years is the reason why most traders fail is not because they have a faulty system or a faulty platform that doesn't give them the right information, or a faulty strategy, or even they've been trading not long enough. It has nothing to do with that. What it really is, the main reason is because you take yourself out of the game. That's what most traders do. They rely on someone in a chat room to tell them what they're buying or selling. They go to a trading room to find out what everyone else is doing. They wait with bated breath for the guys on TV after the market closes to find out what they think of the market. They look for all these earnings and interest rate news to come out and read the blogs. So whether you know it or not, even though you may say, well, Steve, I have a method, a system that I follow religiously. Sure, but if you employ any of those different factors, what you're doing is you're relying on outside sources to give you input. And what you should only be relying on is the chart in front of you, or techniques or indicators that are expressing or translating what that chart wants to do. Not what some guy on TV is saying, and not even what some guy on a webinar is saying. That's why at Specialist Trading, you'll never find chat rooms or me writing a daily blog of what I think the market's going to do. That would be doing you a disservice. Remember, our whole goal is to put the power back in your hands by sharing with you all these tips and techniques that have high levels of consistency, but then work with you so that you can make your own trading decisions. You have to be in charge of how you trade. You have to decide when you want to trade, when you want to get in, when you want to get out, where you want to place your stop. The good news is we provide you with all those different variables for you to choose from. Okay, so that's the cornerstone of our education. We're a little bit different from other educators in that we will never tell you what we think the market's going to do, or what the perfect time frame is, or what the stock you should be buying or selling. That goes against everything that we teach at Specialist Trading. Now, before we begin, as always, we are required to share this with you, so please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results using this particular tool and process, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And since we are an educational company, first and foremost, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Now, if you haven't done so already, please feel free to follow us on Twitter or X, a great way to get more education on a daily basis. I post upwards of 5 to 7 snapshots a day of setups or strategies, signals that our methods have generated. I also give you little bits of financial wisdom early before the market opens. So there's lots of great free education, basic generic education that you can learn from on a daily basis. So please feel free to follow us on Twitter or X, however you'd like to call it. And remember, we're a little bit different from other webinars. If you've come here today wondering, well, is he going to tell us what he thinks the market's going to do, or what stock should I buy or sell, or what does he think of this stock? Should I get out of it? Remember, that's the way we've all been taught. We've all been taught to ask someone else what we should do. But think of it. How would you feel if you got on a plane flying from one coast to the other, and the airline pilot comes over the intercom and says, hey, how do you think I should fly this? What do you think I should do? Is there anyone here that wants to give me any suggestions? You would think that's ridiculous. In fact, you'd probably want to get off that plane, right? Unfortunately, traders think it's perfectly okay to ask that question. How do you think I should trade today? What do you think of the market? What do you think I should do? Okay? That's the way we're taught. And in those other careers and other ventures, people would say that's ridiculous. You've got to already learn that prior to being an airline pilot or a brain surgeon or a lawyer. But for some reason, trading allows you to ask anyone, whether you know they're trained or not, what you should be doing. That's why it's been estimated upwards of 80% of all traders fail. 15 years ago, I started Specialist Trading with Pro Trader Strategies, my sister site, with that one goal in mind, and that was simply to educate traders so that they could make their own trading decisions. In my opinion, this is the only way you will become a consistent trader. You could have the top of the line equipment. You could have a system that cost you $20,000. You could have an account worth $500,000. It still wouldn't in any way guarantee that you're going to be successful. The only thing that I've seen is education and putting that education in your hands so that you can make your own trading decisions. Therefore, as a mentor, my goal is not to force feed you signals or tell you what I think the market's going to do. My goal is to teach you the same things I was taught some 47 years ago, how to trade with a specialist edge. I struggled my first 2 years of trading, and my mentors taught me the same edge, and hopefully they'll be able to sustain your trading for 47 years the same way it sustained mine, okay? Now, before we begin, we have a good crowd here today. Thank you all for joining us and all the people watching us on YouTube. But please, if you have any questions, please wait till the end of class. I don't want to take all of your Wednesday to answer questions. So if you have a question, write it down and try to remember it. I promise I will get to it at the very end. Also, this is being recorded. If you have to leave early or if you're having technical issues, don't worry. Each and every one of you will receive a link to this recording so that you can watch it at your own leisure, okay? All right, with that stated, let us begin today's educational presentation. And I'd like to start out with a theme of today, and that's about trading and catching the big moves. And that's this. The secret to catching a big move lies in a 3-step process. So this is a process that you have to go through in order to catch or at least identify these markets, whether they're stocks, cryptocurrency pair, futures, makes no difference, but whether they have a high probability for a big move. And what this process relies on is a certain indicator, okay? And that indicator is one of our favorites here at Specialist Trading. It's the PTS XT. If you're not familiar with what the PTS XT is, it's an indicator designed to identify these extreme trends in advance. And the way it does it is by putting or displaying a color block around the bars, whether it's a 10-minute bar, a daily bar, or a monthly bar, where the indicator deems that it is in an extreme trend, either an uptrend or a downtrend. So if we look at this right here, obviously this in hindsight has been in an extreme uptrend, right? But how could we have known that in advance? Well, once you apply the PTS XT, you see that a yellow block equals an extreme uptrend. So it was generating a yellow block way back here in advance. Now it does not repaint. It does not go back and all of a sudden jiggle the numbers and say, okay, well, this is where the yellow was. The minute it places a yellow block around the price bar, it stays there. Now the same thing works to the downside, okay? Obviously, looking in hindsight, we see here this chart of ALGM, Algin Technology was an extreme downtrend. But how could we have known well in advance before it fell out of bed? Well, you just apply the PTS XT, and we see here that a red block equals an extreme downtrend. So once you would apply that, you would have known way in advance, way back here, that we were going to be going lower, most likely. There was a high probability, okay? So this is the beauty of using the PTS XT. Its one job is simply to identify when any market you're looking at, any time frame, is either in an extreme uptrend or in an extreme downtrend. So how will this help us catch these big moves? Okay, so let's go through what the second denomination of the PTS XT is. It's based on multiple proprietary indicators and their relationship to one another. But here's the most important. It's our most popular trading tool. That's because of its simplicity. All right, let's go through this three-step process. And this is something very simple to apply. It's not something where you say, well, Steve, I haven't been trading long enough. I don't really understand these things or this terminology, or I don't have the capability. I don't have enough account size. It makes no difference what market, what time frame, how big your account size is. You can all learn this three-step process very easily. And remember, you can only apply it on the PTS Primo charting platform. I developed and designed this platform to make trading simple, but most especially to teach traders how to trade. Okay, step one. Just before or after the close, conduct a daily PTS XT scan. Now, I know some of you are saying, what do you mean just before? Well, on our platform, you have the capability to run a scan, let's say 5 minutes before the close, before the market closes. And usually, most settings of the PTS XT aren't going to change in the last 5 minutes. So in other words, if there's a yellow block deemed around a certain equity, most likely it's going to stay there. It's not going to change in the next 5 minutes. So you could, if you're having the capability to be in front of your computer during the day, sure, run a scan 5 or maybe just a couple of minutes before. That's how quickly you can do it. Or it's easily done when you come home from work and you can just run a night scan and see what the setups are. So on our platform, this is the way the process would look. Here is the interface of our platform, and you look and find the PTS XT Extreme tab right here in the upper green strategy tab. This is where all our methods and strategies are. But we're looking at the PTS XT. Click that on, and you'll see this drop-down menu. Just come down to Scan, and then this page will appear. This is the PTS XT Extreme Trend Scanning page. Okay? Now, it's as simple as going over to the left-hand corner here, and all you want to do is click on where it says Load Symbol List. Now, we provide you with lists for the S&P 500, for NASDAQ, for currency pairs, for crypto, for ETFs, for futures. It makes no difference. You can even develop and devise your own little basket of stocks that you like to look at. But whatever you do, you click it on, it'll show you what those lists are. And then let's say you picked the NASDAQ 100. It'll appear in a matter of seconds. So now that you have whatever list you want to scan, just click on Scan. And in less than 30 seconds, you're going to see a series of either green or red horizontal bars. The green bars mean that these are the stocks that are in the yellow blocks. The red bars mean that these are the stocks in the red blocks. This brings us now to step 2. What we want to do is select stocks to trade that have a bar count of 1. So let's go back to that setup page here with the scanning page. Okay, you have 2 separate columns here. This is giving you basically just the date that they were first initiated in the yellow block. But if you see here on the bar count, this is giving you different numbers. This tells you how many bars it has been in the yellow block. So we only want to select those ones with a bar count of 1, because that's telling us that they've only been in a yellow block for 1 bar. So it stands to reason these are the ones you want to buy, right? Because if they're going to take off and really be in that yellow block, if it is going to be a big move that you want to catch, you want to catch it on the very first bar, right? You don't want to get in on the 4th bar, or even maybe the higher, maybe the 10th bar. So we only want to identify these ones with a 1 bar count. And then we look at the corresponding stocks, okay? And these are the ones we can choose to buy. But remember, you're in charge, you're deciding. Now, let's say you wanted to go short. Well, the same process applies. You look for the bars in red, and you find the bars that are in a 1 bar count, but in the red zone, and then you look, and then here there was only 1, okay? Now this brings us to step 3, which is the third and final step of the process, which is the most important, and that's this: to simply trade. What do we mean by that? Well, it's another way of saying to put the power back in your hands. This is not a system. You see, if this were a system, everyone would have to take the same trade, would have to enter at the same place, have to exit at the same place, have to place their stop at the same place, employ the same money management techniques. And that's why traders fail, because they're doing the same thing that someone else is doing, that someone taught them to do. You, in my opinion, as a successful trader, what you need to do is being given different variables, different ways, because everyone trades differently. I mean, someone may have an account size of $250,000. Someone may have an account size of $50,000 or $5,000. Obviously, their risk parameters are going to be different. So you need different stop placements for those different account sizes. What if someone wants to trade 20 times a day? What if someone wants to trade only 1 time a week? Well, you're going to need different parameters for that as well, for your exits or for your entries, right? What if you want to get in and out 20 times a day? All right. What if you want to stay in as long as possible? You're going to need different exit points. So this is why no two traders should ever trade alike. You have to find your own way. The good news is this is the service we provide. We provide you with high probability methods and techniques, and then we work with you and mentor you along the way, every step of the way, so that you can determine and find what feels the best for you, okay? So looking back at that original chart that we had looked at earlier in the day, all right, let's say we were looking at it, and then at the night we do a nightly scan, and we see that it's in a bar count of 1. It's the first bar in a yellow block. Now, there's no guarantee that it's going to continue to go up, but let's say you like the stock and it meets your parameters, or maybe you want to buy some options, some calls, or maybe you want to buy some type of an option spread that has a bias to the upside. Remember, it's your decision. We're not telling you how to trade this. It's entirely up to you. You could also say, you know what, this is a little bit too rich for my blood. A $600 stock, I can't afford it. It's all right, so then you don't take the trade. But had you decided this is the bar you would have bought on, and even though nothing happened for the next 3 bars, that's okay. They're all still in the yellow block. So this is the PTS XT telling you that, listen, even though we haven't gone up yet, there's a high probability that this is going to take off, because that's how sensitive this tool is. And then look what happened. Obviously, some news or an announcement came out that caused it to gap up and go up 60 points in just 4 days. Now, did we know what that news announcement was, or that event? Absolutely not, because we don't follow or track any news. It overcomplicates when you try to apply news and outside sources. Remember, as I said in the beginning of this presentation, we only focus on one thing: the chart in front of us, and on tools and methods and techniques that are translating what the chart is trying to tell us. We are never trying to put our own image of what we think. Well, this news should be good, so we should be buying here, or this news should be bad. We don't care about that. It's too subjective. Okay, so now you understand the process. Let's look at some recent PTSXT examples. And remember, you can only apply this process on our platform, the trading educational platform that identifies these big moves in advance. All right, let's look at QCOM. All right, this is the beginning of this month in May. Now the stock is doing nothing. All of a sudden it shoots up, and you're saying to yourself, wow, is that a buy signal? But that guy on TV says you should sell it because it's gone up too high too quickly. All right, well, we don't care about what outside sources are saying. What is the market telling us? We click on, for all intents and purposes, they're saying it's overbought. But we click on the PTS XT. In the drop-down menu, we click on Scan, and we see that it had a bar count of 1, meaning that this was the first day it was in a yellow bar. Now, does this guarantee it's going up and you're going to catch a big move? Absolutely not. But it has a high probability that it wants to go higher. So let's say you decided, because remember, the power is in your hands, not ours. You decide, okay, I'm going to buy this. Maybe some options, maybe the actual stock. Stock goes up 30 points coming into last week, okay? See how simple that was? You didn't have to look at news the way everyone does. You didn't have to look, and I was taught those same things 47 years ago, and I had such a terrible time trying to determine if the news was good or bad. I would be in charge of making markets in roughly about 60 stocks. So I had to know all about the inner workings of the company and news events. So guess what? Some great earnings announcements would come out. The earnings estimates were fantastic. They would come out and the stock would go straight down. Or obviously the opposite would ring true, okay? Terrible news would come out, maybe terrible news about the economy or the market. The stock market would go straight up. See, we want things that are cut and dry, things that are simple. If it's in a yellow block, that's a buy. If it's in a red block, it's a sell. As you look at ROST here, we see it's been going down, but maybe on TV after the close, that guy on TV says it's oversold. So should you buy it? Well, we don't rely on what people are saying. We only rely on what the market's telling us. So our translators are telling us, well, click on the PTS XT, click on scan. Actually, it's telling us this is the beginning of a downward move, not the beginning of an upward move. And it's going to be an extreme big move to the downside. So do we want to take the setup? It's up to us. Sure. Let's say we decide to take it. 17 points coming into the beginning of this month. Okay, what happened to the oversold? It was oversold for nearly an entire month. All right, a buy signal was generated by the PTS XT and VRTX. You decide to buy, it's your choice. 40 points coming into last week. In CDNS, a sell signal. Here's the first bar in a red block. You could have purchased the puts to go short. The stock fell 28 points coming into this month. Here was a buy signal in ADI. Okay, this was at the very beginning of May. You could have decided anyway whether to buy calls or whether to buy the stock, anything you wanted to do. But the stock was up 40 points, and look how it shot up here just last week. This is how sensitive the PTS XT is. It knew well in advance back here that there was a very good chance it was going to continue going strongly to the upside. And the same thing rings true to the downside. ADSK, Autodesk, a sell signal right here. 43 points coming into May this month. Okay, we look at Amgen, all right? This was on May 1st. A buy signal was generated. It doesn't look like it's doing anything, just kind of going sideways. But how can this be? How can it say that there's an extreme chance for an up move happening here when it looks like nothing is happening at all? But remember, we don't worry about that. We're just listening to the market. It's telling us that there's high probability, not guaranteed, but high probability it wants to go higher. So you buy. And look, in 2 days, the stock shot up 45 points. Once again, some news announcement must have happened here where it caused it to gap up, but we don't follow news. So someone would say, well, how did you know that? How did you know? Do you have advanced information? Do you guys follow all these different periodicals and what the estimates are going to be of something, some news announcement? No, I stopped looking at news over 4 decades ago. And if I'm still here, I'm living proof that you really don't need news in order to be a consistent trader. Now, if you feel you must, then go ahead and use it. But we do not factor in any news or fundamental information in any of our methods at specialist trading. And look how well this did without the aid of any news. Now, see, if you were trying to buy this thinking it was going to be a favorable announcement, you would have missed it because most likely you're not going to buy once it gaps up. But with the PTS XT, you knew 2 days in advance before the 45-point gain. Here's an example in Lulu. Okay, Lulu's been going straight down. This just happened a couple of weeks ago. A sell signal was generated. Fell 43 points in just 4 days. And once again, it gapped down right here. Isn't it funny how we knew 4 days in advance to sell or to go short? Here's another way to use the PTS XT. I know there are a lot of traders that don't like to go short or buy puts. They don't feel comfortable on the downside. That's okay. You can use this as an exiting tool. For example, let's say you were long Lulu. You were long the stock. Well, you can use the PTS XT as an exiting tool. If you had seen this first block right here, if I go back, that would have been your sign to get out. And you could have saved yourself potentially 43 points in the next 4 days. As we look at Moderna in hindsight, obviously it went straight up. Isn't it funny how the PTS XT a month ago was giving us a buy signal off the bar count of 1 in the yellow block? Same thing with ZS. it's been going straight down, 52 points to the downside. But funny how a full month in advance, it was already warning our students who have the PTS XT to either exit their long position or to sell, to go short, because it fell over 50 points. Okay, so let's look at some different time frames and some different markets. We know that not everyone just trades daily bars of stocks. You can also use this intraday trading. Here's a chart, a 15-minute chart in Tesla. This was just last week, okay, on the 21st, just I believe a week ago. All right, here's a 15-minute bar and what you could have done in one day. Now, on that opening bar, you could have scanned at the close of 15 minutes and seen that there was a yellow block. So guess what? If you had bought, you could have potentially captured 10 points in one day. It's not a bad little trade, right? So you can use this intraday if you'd like. Now, remember, you don't have to stay in till the very end. Someone could trade this and say, I'm the type of trader that likes to get in and out of a lot of different stocks. So maybe I made 1 or 2 points and exited. That's fine. Maybe someone could hold on the very next day. It doesn't matter. Remember, you're in charge of your trading. Our job as a mentor is to provide you with these high probability tools to help you make your own decisions. That was an intraday setup. Let's look at a weekly setup. Let's say you're a swing trader and you trade weekly bars. Okay, the same process applies. You would just scan weekly bars now. And you saw that there was a sell setup in Charter. This was going back to the beginning of the year in January. And the stock has fallen 135 points coming into May. The same process, nothing changes. Or we can go out to long-term investing. Here's a monthly chart of Costco. This is going back over a year ago, or just about a year ago, in August of 2023. A buy signal was here. You could have scanned on monthly bars and seen that this bar closed, the first bar in a yellow block, 260 points coming into this month, okay? So this is how simple it is to apply the process. Let's go to a different market. Here's a 4-hour chart of the British pound. Same process applies. In just a couple of days, you could have potentially captured over 115 pips. That's roughly about $1,100 per unit, potentially you could have captured. That was on a 4-hour chart of the British pound. If we went down to an hour chart of the dollar yen, well, guess what? On this first bar in red, if we had sold the dollar yen, we could have potentially captured 250 pips in one day. That's potentially $2,500 per unit. So it doesn't matter what time frame, it doesn't matter what market, and it doesn't matter what direction. The PTS XT can help you catching those big moves. Okay, so let's review what we taught you today. The secret to catching a big move lies in a 3-step process, and that process employs one of our most popular tools, the PTS XT. Here's the simple 3-step process. Once again, conduct a daily PTS XT scan. That's obviously if you're trading daily bars. If you're trading 15-minute bars, well, right at the close of the bar, conduct a scan. Or if you're looking at weekly or monthly bars, do the same thing, and you can change that easily on the scanning page. Select stocks with a bar count of 1. This is the most important, because if they have a bar count of 1, that means that that stock or that market has been either in a big up move, an extreme up move setting for 1 bar, or an extreme down move for 1 bar. And that's when you want to get in, because if that's going to be a big move, looking back in hindsight, you're going to say to yourself, gosh, what if I could have gotten in at the very beginning? That's how you do it. And then lastly, trade. This is actually the most important, because it simply means you're in charge. You're never going to hear me say, here's an announcement, everyone should buy this stock tonight, or here's an announcement, everyone get out of this stock. No, that would be doing you a disservice. You have to decide that. Remember, I've been trading for almost 5 decades now. The only traders I know who are still around are the ones that make their own trading decisions. None of them belong to trading rooms or chat rooms. They don't read blogs. They don't even follow news. They have a simple plan in place that has worked over time, and they make their own trading decisions. This is what I'm trying to instill in all of my students around the world as a mentor, giving you the proper information to help you make your own trading decisions. So ask yourself, do you think this indicator, the PTS XT, can help your trading for the remainder of 2024? I think your answer is yes. So because of that, we have a great special offer for all of you attending today's educational class. This is our catch the big moves offer. We're going to offer you the PTS XT Extreme Trend Indicator that generates these high probability zones, okay? Remember, you can apply to any market, any time frame. And what a lot of people do is they like to trade with their current strategy. So meaning that they'll say, well, Steve, my strategy is pretty good already. Well, if you'd like to increase the odds of your strategy, maybe only take the signals that are in those extreme either yellow blocks or red blocks. So in other words, if you get a buy signal that's in a red block, I would most likely not take that buy signal. You'd want to take the sell signals or whatever method you're trading that correspond to the proper displayed color block, okay? Or you can build your own strategy. A number of our students like to tinker under the hood and build their own strategies using the PTS XT. Either way, it will give you the confidence to pull the trigger because you're in sync with an extreme trend. It's giving you the high probability to catch that big move. But we're also going to throw in an extra bonus. Remember, you can't go through that process unless you have the PTS Primo charting platform. So all new customers of the PTS XT course will receive a full year free of the platform. This is a great offer. You're going to save yourself thousands of dollars because not only will you be able to go through that process through scanning and able to see where the setups are in advance, there are a host of different indicators and tools and techniques also included on our platform, like enhanced buy-sell line, which will tell you the overall trend in a matter of seconds, a strength of trend tool, it's telling you how strong a trend is, whether it's got more room in it or it's running out of steam, a great way to determine how to trade. You get the signal scanner, also auto-generated exit levels. If you'd like to know where to exit, this is just one of our different techniques for exiting, included with a host of different tools and techniques you won't find anywhere else because these are things I've accumulated from my years on the trading floor. You won't find them on any of the other major platforms. They're only on the PTS Primo charting platform. Just don't have enough room here to list all of them, but they're all included with your free year of the platform. Now, let me go into detail one more thing about the scanner, because you can also scan for ETFs to get an idea of what you think the market is doing. For example, you could look at a scan here, a weekly chart of DJI. That's the ETF for the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So what a lot of our students do is they like to apply the PTS XT, not simply to trade the DJI ETF, but to find out what the market's doing. Now, let's say you would scan using the PTS three-step process, clicked on the interface here and the scanner, and seen that back here in November of 2023, the DJI, which is the weekly ETF for the Dow Jones, had the first bar in a yellow block. So what's this telling us? It's telling us that most likely there's going to be a big up move in the Dow. Don't you think you would have liked to have known this going back about 4 or 5 months? Because we've all seen that the market, had you bought there or just had a bullish bias for the market, you could have potentially taken advantage of a 45, nearly 5,000 point up move in the market that ran into coming into April, okay? So this is how you can use it. And this is what we talked about and shared with you today. The secret to catching a big move involves this three-step process using the PTS XT. Take your trading to the next level with the original PTS XT Extreme Trend Indicator. Do you now see why this is our most popular tool? Because of its power included with its simplicity. It's so simple to apply. Doesn't matter how long you've been trading, whether you're a hedge fund trader, because we have some hedge fund students and course members. We also have people that have just been trading for a half an hour that have never traded in their life. Everyone starts out at the same spot. Okay, so let's break it down. Let's break down this special offer. Now, normally, if we didn't have the discount, if you just wanted to purchase the PTS XT, it would cost you close to $5,000. That's how popular and that's how expensive this tool is. Here's what we're going to do today. We're going to slash that. We're going to bring it down to a one-time payment of less than $500, $497. And all you have to do is establish a payment plan of $97 per month. That's it. Think of it. You don't have to come down with $49.95. All you have to do is come down with a one-time payment of $497 and establish a $97 per month payment. Now remember, that includes a full year of the platform. Now, if you want to pay in full, we'll also discount that. We'll discount that 10% down to $44.95. You're going to save $500. Either way, if you decide to pay in full and get that 10% discount, or to get that really, really discounted one-time payment plan, you're going to get a full year of the platform absolutely free. This is about an extra couple of $1,000s that you're saving on top of that, okay? Remember, the PTS XT is a fantastic indicator, and you can only go through that process on our platform. So take advantage of this great, great offer, whether you can buy it all together with that 10% discount or purchase it with a payment plan. This is a great way to get your trading back on track. Here's how to take advantage of this. Contact Pro Trader Strategies. They're my sister site, and they're in charge of all of the discounts and the payment plans. I would highly recommend giving them a call at this number right here, 310-598-6677. They have trading consultants manning the phones right now. They would be more than happy to take your order over the phone, establish any type of payment plan, or you can pay in full if you'd like, or just ask them any question concerning data, concerning any of the symbol list, or anything in terms of discounts. They can be there to work with you, and there's absolutely no obligation at all required, okay? You don't have to purchase anything by calling them. Now, that link you see at the very bottom has just been posted on the webinar chat box. So if you look in the Zoom little icon tray there, you'll see the chat little icon. Just click that on, and you'll see that there is a link there. You can go to the info page or sign up online if you like. It's entirely up to you. Now, I promised I would answer your questions at the very end of today's presentation. We are at the end. I'm going to leave this information up here for you to copy down, especially that phone number if you'd like. But if you do have any questions, now's the time. Just go to the chat box or to the question and answer box. I see someone is asking, they said, Steve, I have not been trading for long. What if I have difficulty? Well, here's one of the best things about this included, which I did not mention. Every one of our students gets what we call educational correspondence. And what that simply is my private email, okay? But the email you're seeing right here goes to the sales department and to the customer reps. But I only see emails from my students, and it doesn't go to anyone else. It doesn't go to sales. It doesn't go to customer reps. It comes directly to me. So if you have a question, if you're not familiar with something or something doesn't make sense, you can email me prior to the opening, after the close, during the weekend. It makes no difference, or during the trading day, and I will be there to answer your question as soon as possible. All right, so it makes absolutely no difference how long or how much you know about trading, what your account size is. You can always contact me, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Okay. Next question. Does this work on E-mini futures? Yes, it does. In fact, I personally like to trade it on E-mini futures. One of the best things is if you're an intraday trader, you know when these big quick runs happen. You can see the volume pick up. You can see the intensity in the charts where they're moving in one direction, and that's where this moves fantastically. So you'll see the very first bar intraday, and you can get in knowing this is a high probability move that's going to happen in my direction. So yes, I like to trade it with E-mini futures, but remember, it doesn't matter. You can apply it to daily bars of stocks. You can apply it to currency pairs, to 15-minute currency pair bars, or weekly crypto. Makes absolutely no difference, okay? Any more questions? Remember, if you're at all interested, but you're not sure you want to purchase it, that's okay. You can always contact Pro Trader Strategies at 310-598-6677. Ask them any question concerning pricing or data. They will be there to work with you. There's no obligation. They can answer your questions. Here's the one thing I always like to remind you during the end of the webinar. So if you're going to wait and watch the video again, get a better idea, that's fine. And we want you to do that. We want you to make your own decision. But just don't sleep on this offer too long, because next week I will be talking about an entirely new strategy or indicator, and this will go back to roughly close to $5,000. So you have some time, think about it, but just don't wait. What a lot of people do is they'll wait weeks, even months, and then they'll contact Pro Trader Strategies and say, okay, I want to take advantage of that one-time offer for the PTS XT with a full year of the platform. And unfortunately, that will be already over. So think about it and watch the video and email them if they have, or better to call them if you have any questions, okay? Okay, if there are no further questions today, let's take one last look at our disclaimer. And as we're taking one last look, remember, if you're at all interested, contact Pro Trader Strategies. There's no obligation. They're there to work with you. But most especially, I hope you learned something today, not only about the PTS XT, but about how we like to teach and how we just really want to put the power back in your hands. My goal is to have everyone trading and having a good, not just a year, not just a good month, but a good decade, maybe a couple of decades under their belt, okay? I want to thank you so much for attending today. I wish you all the best of luck, and I look forward to seeing you in the PTS XT course. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.